Hi, I'm Ian Whittaker, host of the JCDecaux Digital Changemakers podcast. The Digital Changemakers podcast showcases industry research and insights to inspire senior marketers to push the boundaries of their marketing strategies and become change agents in their organisation. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Marc Greene, Commercial Director at In-Kind Direct. In-Kind Direct is a UK charity focused on distributing consumer products that are donated by huge brands such as Tesco's, Kimberly-Clark and Unilever to charitable organisations across the country, ensuring that everyone has access to the products they need to keep clean, safe and well. Having previously managed large brands such as Kickers and Mitre, Marc transitioned to the charity sector in 2020, bringing with him a wealth of brand experience and knowledge, which he has now been able to apply in his role within the charity. Marc joins me for an insightful discussion around the role that marketing played in reforming the charity strategy and how the small charity keeps its seat at the corporate table by crafting compelling stories using the language of the boardroom. Marc, great to have you here. Thank you very much for taking the time. I think it's going to be a fascinating episode on this. Yeah, normally how we always start these things is we say, give our listeners a bit of a background about yourself, and where you're from and sort of how also as well you got into the charity sector.
Yes. Firstly, brilliant to be here. Thank you.
Not at all.
Go easy on me. First time I'm doing these. So look, just cut this to make it sound brilliant.
Yeah.
My intro. So I am, firstly, husband, father of 2 primary school age kids, avid Disney fan, and gym goer. So I think that's important maybe as we go into the chat. But I think a bit about me. I haven't yet fulfilled my ambition of being a maths teacher or policeman.
Okay. Interesting.
But I have been lucky enough to spend almost a couple of decades at a really brilliant organisation who manage or own lots of brands, sports, fashion and outdoor brands, and retail fascia. So I had a brilliant experience there working across the brands in different markets. I spent a couple of years in Hong Kong. And my time there, I guess, predominantly was in commercial roles. So working in sales teams, running sales teams, brands like Mitre, football brand, Canterbury, the rugby brand. I think what are the other things? The Pentland owns Speedo, which is the global swimming brand. And like I say, lots of commercial roles. My last 5 years there was on the consumer side.
Okay.
So made a switch over to looking after the sort of brand strategy, product and marketing at Kickers, which is a footwear brand.
Yeah.
Do you know of Kickers?
I do indeed. Yep.
Yes, synonymous with school shoes.
Right. Okay.
Which
it's a long time ago for me, but anyway.
Yeah. Myself, but having 2 sort of primary school age kids. It was amazing. I love being at the brand. And if someone had said to me, you're going to be at a brand where your product is black shoes, I'd have been quite surprised back in the day. But actually, what I realised when you get there is embrace it. I absolutely loved that wall of black shoes and what you could do with it. Because if you don't think about your messaging and your product attributes and the shopper and their pain points, actually, it's just a wall of black shoes and its price point.
Yeah.
So some really lovely stuff that we went through at Kickers around really pulling that apart. At what point does the purchase shift from mum and dad to kid? And normally around sort of 12 years old, you get that shift. But actually, there's a lot you can do to affect that in-store purchase or online purchase. So I loved those years. I sort of took a lot from that. I loved my time at Pentland, clearly. I was there a long time.
Yeah.
Very quickly get to how the shift happened, I guess, in 2020. Which was COVID year, there was lots of reorganisation and I had and consolidation, I guess, within Pentland. And I had this really interesting opportunity, this moment to leave Pentland and join In-Kind Direct, which is a UK charity. I got to join in a new role, which was commercial director there, which I found quite interesting because a commercial director at a charity, for me, hadn't probably historically been a role I would have associated with a charity.
Yeah. Well, and also as well, I was going to ask you as well. I mean, if your career ambition had been a maths teacher and a outlaw policeman, then end up as commercial director of a charity.
Well, I think there's something in that. I'd love to talk a little bit about in kind in a minute, but actually you've asked me an interesting question because I think about this quite a lot. If there's probably 3 reasons why I talk about the shift I made and why it was important to me. That piece around me wanting to do those roles, I don't think it's the roles themselves, it's this idea of helping people. So maths teacher, so there's something in my inherent sort of ingrained purpose and what I want to do, the why, that certainly this sector really ticks. I think the context was really important at the time when you're going through a COVID year and what we were seeing happening in the UK. Actually, I felt like it was the perfect moment to make a shift somewhere where I could actually help a lot of people. Yeah. You know, it was brutal. It was. If you remember back then, it does seem like a lifetime ago. It seems like a bad dream, doesn't it, sometimes? But the isolation, the mental health issues, the closures, of retail and people not being able to get out. So, and actually what In-Kind Direct does, which I'll talk to in a minute, is we were able to affect a massive impact and help people. So that's my second reason. The third reason is the fascinating opportunity at In-Kind Direct.
Okay.
So what do I mean by that? Well, firstly, it's a really unique charity. I often talk about the fact that a big reason for the move was the actual model itself. Yeah. And we, being really blunt, we act a little bit like an e-tailer.
Okay.
Which will make sense in a minute. What we do is we bring in donated product from big corporates. So this is anyone from Lego to Unilever to Disney to P&G, big brands. We bring in the product, we load it up onto a platform. And then on the other side, we have 6,500 UK charities that can come and access that product. Okay. And we'll send it to them. We get a small charge that comes to us for that. Works out they're saving around 90 to 95% versus accessing it another way. And then what we'll do at the end is obviously we'll get an impact report back to the corporate. So they know about the good they've done. It's a genius model set up by His Majesty, the King. 27 years ago, and huge impact. Right now, 445,000 people a week we're reaching through that network with product. So yeah, it made sense. It's been 3.5 years now. What's been fantastic is the education and the training from my old life and my old world and corporate, I guess, the transferable elements that I've been able to bring over to a charity that frankly has this lovely balance of e-tail and e-commerce mindset on one side and massive impact on the other. Yeah. So it's been good. I'm kind of inspired every day by the people that we're helping. It's some amazing people in the UK that these frontline charities that you are doing so much unseen work. For minimal reward in many cases. It's amazing.
And it's interesting because I mean you've really touched on that In-Kind Direct does have a unique business model, sort of, and in terms of what the charities themselves are getting from that is great. I mean, is there really anyone else who does something similar? Or
there are others. There's lots of charities, amazing charities, and actually one of the things that we talk about at In-Kind Direct is our purpose is about enabling partnerships. It's building great partnerships to enable impact and enable communities to thrive. I think we recognise those other charity partners and try to work with them, actually. So there are some, I don't think at the scale we're at, no, and certainly not the breadth of product we offer. Okay. You know, there's charities that will focus on hygiene products or baby banks or, but actually the come on to it in a minute, I suppose, the blessing and our curses, we are so broad in what we want to get in terms of product. So that could be Lego sets. Okay. It could be beauty gift sets. It could be clothing and footwear. It could be kids' coats, school shoes, really wide variety of products. And actually, as I think... my daily challenge, I think, actually, is how do you turn all of that breadth when you do so much and could talk to so many causes? How do you turn that into real powerful stories to unlock more impact and more product? And that's been a really exciting journey for the last 3 years, actually, thinking about how we do that.
Yeah. And it leads actually nicely on to what was going to ask next. Because the role of marketing, sort of within your organisation, as you say, sort of, it's probably got a slightly different focus and a slightly different way of doing things than maybe it would do marketing it in many, let's call them traditional advertisers.
It has. There's also lots of things that have felt very familiar. But I think, this idea of being really clear up front on who are you trying to speak to? And mapping that through those journeys of your audience has been critical, right? What's different here is, there's a few things. So firstly, as a B2B charity, if you like, because, as I've said, we're getting product to the charities, 6,500 of them, who will then serve their community. So as this B2B connector, if you like, we didn't tend to say very much. So for 23 years of our 26 years existence, actually we're a brilliant platform. We're in a logistics machine. We get masses of product through at scale. But did we talk about ourselves as a brand? No.
Okay.
And actually, one of the things I wanted to do when I came in was think more like a brand. When I've come from a brilliant organisation, like I mentioned, that put a lot of time into these campaigns and launches, and you can imagine the Speedo launches I got to see. So how do you bring that mindset to a charity that fundamentally has a brilliant platform and has operated in the background? Then you go the next level of complexity, which is our corporate partners is our supply chain. The charity network is our customer. We want to talk to those guys. There's different jobs to be done. I've also got funders I need to talk to because we need fundraised income. And then there's this bit that was really in our head, which, and what about the public? Because you want the general public to know about you as a charity, because that will snowball and that will drive more donations and more support. So we had all these things going on, and actually a big part of my first 6 months in kind was going, how do you turn this into a clear plan? The best plans are simple, that everyone can articulate and they understand their role in them. I'll never forget, I talk about a lot. I remember this Speedo brand president some years ago got it onto a Post-it note.
Right.
and it wasn't really small font, but it was just genius. It was a real kind of symbolic measure of this is how clear our plan. And I love that. So, what did I do? I guess with the team, and we brought in a couple of people, but the idea was, if we are the sector's best kept secret, because frankly, we haven't talked about what we do. It was all referral. How do we raise our profile? What are the things we could do to start getting a little bit more known? And I think, if I summarise 3 things that we did that I think landed quite well and quite quickly. One was thinking about campaigns. And campaigns in the sense of, what if In Kind Direct did a winter campaign? And actually that winter campaign was focused on helping people at a tough time of year. Of our 6,500 charities, they will all be needing to help their communities at winter. And they will all be needing certain products at winter, coats and underwear and food and gifts. Well, actually, if I take that all the way back, I can turn that into a really compelling campaign idea to talk about with corporates to get their engagement. Then if I had a PR element and work with an external agency and start to turn this into a little bit of a toolkit forming here, I can make this a thing, albeit it's actually it's our BAU. We'd want that product anyway. But now I can get 30 corporate partners donating to me at the right time, give me the product I need for the charities at the right time, and get a press release out and maybe do an activation or two. So that was one thing we do. The second thing was, what about if you could link that to brilliant collaboration? So we now, for the last 3 years, have done a summer campaign and we partnered with Save the Children.
Okay.
So for me, if I want to raise our profile and what no one knows us, I'll tell you what, a good way to do that, a fast track, is do it with someone who everyone knows. So that was the second thing. And I think the last one, which I never ceases to amaze me how much you can do with this, is think about storytelling, but from a point of view of our impact.
Yeah.
When Gillette donate razor blades to us, we were very good at talking about the 2 pallets of razor blades and how quickly they moved through our DC, and we got them out to 2,000 charities. I'm making this up, but that's great. Actually, the exciting bit is those razor blades enabled a load of shaves that enabled the person to go for the interview, to get the job, to support their family.
Yeah.
And actually what Gillette want is that story. What we want is that story, because that can snowball, that gives you social assets. And actually that's the emotive stuff that can drive change as opposed to the pallets. So yeah, there's been so much in there. It's been a journey, and we're on the way, but plenty to do. But marketing's been super important in terms of the shift.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's, it's fascinating because we talk about that a lot sort of in this podcast series, that even sort of marketing has for a long time just been treated as a cost, not an investment. But I think you've actually given a very, very sort of clear outline as to why that is actually a false. So that's a false way of thinking.
Absolutely. And you just made me realise that in the time I've been there, what we've actually done is that marketing budget has gone up in the 3 years I've been there, as we've, you have to have a bit of a mindset shift. So as the organisation has seen the benefit, and we've seen it improve relationship with corporates because they've seen the benefit, and we've seen it unlock more more charities join our network. That's grown from 3,500 to 6,500 now in a number of years. The support and the alignment on we need this line. This marketing spend is absolutely critical to our BAU. It isn't an add-on. And actually, when we've had to, as a charity, you've got to really keep a close eye on your spend. We're not there to make money, which has been quite a shift for me.
Yeah.
So how got to keep an eye on that line and the costs and make sure you're within, the requirements of the sector. But it's there and it's growing. We're doing more of it. And actually, we've been able to engage multiple agencies, external agencies to help us. That's been really exciting. We hadn't done that before. Where do you outsource? Where do you do it within your team? So 100%, I think that's definitely how we view things. Yeah, yeah.
And just in terms of the campaign around hygiene poverty, that is something that very much caught people's attention. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
I go back to my line, which is what we do is a blessing and a curse is our breadth.
Yeah.
So I can talk to Lego, rather than talk to Lego about, have you got any product? I can say to Lego, if I understand what's in it for them and their purpose.
Yeah.
So they're about childhood development, learning through play, childhood resilience. Well, what if I was to switch my language to them and go, well, of my 6,500 charities, 3/4 work with low-income families with kids. Surely there's a way where we can get what you want to do, your purpose and what's important to you, connected with that part of our network.
Yeah.
And when you see that start to that's value add. There's win-win in there. So suddenly you can bring the Lego educational toolkits to the network.
Yeah.
We can take kids out to Lego launches, and it becomes much more than product. Why do I tell that story? Because hygiene poverty has become a very key pillar of what we do.
Okay.
Hygiene poverty, for those that don't know, is there's around over 9 million UK adults in hygiene poverty. It's a large, growing and somewhat hidden crisis. And it is the definition when someone cannot afford the products they need to keep themselves clean.
Okay.
So the everyday products.
Yeah.
We've done lots of research in it. We've got some amazing stuff on the website. We've got a brilliant research team that really bring thought leadership in this space. And it's frankly awful, the decisions people are having to make. We did a campaign last year called Not a Choice.
Okay.
Which talks to some of those choices. This is put it bluntly, dinner or deodorant. Budgets are so stretched.
Yeah.
That actually you hear some awful things about the 500,000 people having to make their own period products. You hear about kids sharing toothbrushes. And actually to be in that space and think about how do we with the breadth of our network and the ability to work with these amazing corporates, how do we face into this?
Yeah.
So yeah, we've really, hygiene poverty has become a key cause for us. That's one of our whys.
Okay.
We worked, and there's a few things we've done in this space. We actually worked with the JCDecaux Community Channel, and did some out of home stuff this November last year, which, can you imagine, for us, I mean, genuinely, it was game-changing stuff.
Yeah.
So we had our campaign. We had Not a Choice. We'd created some wonderful assets with an agency. And then to be able to see them out across the UK on these digital screens was quite something. And then if I go back to the jobs to be done about raising our profile and awareness of what we do, that was that was there in terms of activation. That was just wonderful.
I mean, you've stolen my next question, actually, which was
Sorry.
The role of out of home in terms of how important it is for you and for In-Kind Direct in terms of trying to get your message across there. Because obviously, you come back to this point before, in terms of the charities you deal with, but then obviously then as well, there's a wider community out there.
That's it. With our hygiene poverty campaign, when we originally created that Not a Choice, what we had our, I guess, 3 key call to actions, if you like, right? We wanted to use it to get more product. So we were going to use it to go to corporates. And it, they really responded. It was fantastic. When you've been working with the Unilevers and Kimberly-Clarks and Essities of the world for over 20 years, which we have, they're in. It's part of their purpose, and they love, they tell us they love working with us. So that was one. We then wanted to use Not a Choice to encourage more charities to join our network. It's free to join our network. Why wouldn't, like I said, it's the best kept secret. It's the biggest no-brainer. Join the network and benefit from the product that's coming through our platform. Which equates to, I mean, we're saving the sector, by the way, around just shy of £30 million a year. So there's a good amount of product coming through our platform. We also wanted Not a Choice to speak to funders so we could try and fundraise. When we first built it, the campaign, we hadn't, out of home wasn't probably in our thinking because frankly, we haven't got the budgets to go into that. For us, it's very much our battleground is going to be digital. What we can do on social and with a small digital marketing fund, as I say. So this opportunity to work on an out-of-home project that would give us this different level of visibility, would create some engagement, was wonderful. It did make us stop and think, because actually everything we built was not for that. So suddenly we had to work with the team at JCDecaux to go, goodness me, okay, well, dwell time's different to what we've been working on. And actually, how do you make this, how do you get the engagement that what do we want people to do? Where do we want them to go? What's the journey when they see this? Because we're not a well-known name. You compare it to other charity messaging on out of home, and it's different because we almost had to educate on who we are, what's hygiene poverty, and then what do we want them to do? It was too much. So it was a really interesting learning experience to get to ultimately, I think we got to a really simple message, which was all about actually you just want to make attention of this crisis. Almost try and shock people. That was where you go. Try and shock people and give them somewhere to go for more information. Can't ask them more than that. What we did do, what it allowed us to do, which we really have struggled with and never really been in the space, is we then set up a way for the public to donate. And that was really important because that isn't our model historically with this B2B. The public, I think part of the challenge with the awareness we have in our profile is it's hard for the public to engage with us because we get product from corporates and we get it out to charities. We don't get product from people. But then you go, well, actually, people work at corporates. So this is an important space. So, but what the out of home allowed us to do is hopefully drive people to a page where we needed something to enable them to take part. So we set up this very, very simple thing, which was, you know what, £10 enables us to get 6 hygiene packs out. Each hygiene pack will help a family for a month.
Okay.
So try to make it really clear that okay, I can do something there and I get what hygiene poverty is. So it was amazing.
Yeah,
amazing.
no. As you say, it's sort of multifaceted in terms of, trying to address several questions and so forth.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it certainly has been an interesting journey for you. So, if you had to pick sort of between maths teacher, policeman, staying commercial director of in-kind direct,
Yeah, I'm good at the minute.
Yeah.
I'm good at the minute. We're working on some really wonderful stuff at the moment. And it's nice when you see a plan that you kind of put in place almost 4 years ago now, which our ambition, by the way, was to triple our impact in 5 years.
Okay.
We will get there at the end of this year.
Yeah.
So that's incredible. And to see some of the things snowball in the way they have is, frankly, I use the word inspiring. I find it quite humbling. I feel very proud. We've got an amazing team and a brilliant culture we've built. We're working on something in the minute that goodness me, we have managed to do something with Tesco on hygiene poverty that went live yesterday. So this is pretty good timing, or it's just gone live. And we, in 2022, approached Tesco with Unilever to work into hygiene poverty.
Right.
We've got this campaign going. We've done 2 bursts of the campaign, which is effectively giving the shopper an opportunity to engage. Buy 2, and 1 will be donated. We've, in the first 2 campaigns, it led to 1 million products donated. Okay. The 3rd campaign was the game changer. We were able to get Tesco, Unilever, and then Haleon, Essity, and Kimberly-Clark all in a room together. Now, bear in mind, these guys do compete in certain categories. We did a workshop together. We've made this campaign bigger, and that will have unlocked another 1.2 million products. And we've just gone live with Burst 4, which has brought in another partner called Edgewell, who makes shaving products. Right. So we've now covered almost all of our key hygiene products with these suppliers who are all engaged in a campaign with us, with Tesco, right now for the next 4 to 6 weeks, with multi-year planned. I mean, we want to do this to really, whether end hygiene poverty is your ambition, certainly to make a big old dent in hygiene poverty and change the way people think about it, break the shame and stigma associated. So in answer to your question, no, very proud of the work we're doing. And like I say, it's really been something.
I mean, it's been an amazing journey, sort of, as you say. I guess, and this comes on to the final question, when you look at it, what sort of lessons, what suggestions would you give for people out there from what you've learned in terms of what they can take away?
I think there's 3 that spring to mind. The first one I think is putting cause at the heart of everything you do. And what do I mean there? I think the why, that purpose piece, has been so fundamental in every conversation. Firstly, with corporates, understanding their why is no different actually to my old roles where I'd be maybe selling. You wanted to understand what's in it for me, right? Now here, understanding why a Lego or a P&G or a Kimberly want to donate and what they want is critical. So that why, that cause is important. I'd also say why, always take it back to cause, is when we're having conversations, even on this Tesco campaign that I've just mentioned, cause is the neutralizer. It's the leveler. Yeah. Now, when things get, maybe there's tough chats or things get complicated, as they will when you've got 5 big global FMCG players in a room, taking it back to the why we're here, just reminding everyone is fundamental. It's been our role. So I will start every call. We have fortnightly calls. I'll start every one with the here's why we're here. Here's a couple of quotes from the network that just remind us why we're doing this. Yeah. And it's that grounding, I think, that's been really important. So that's one. It's definitely the why, and I think that's fundamental. I think the second one I'd mention is storytelling, but it's relevant storytelling. The biggest piece I've had here is, because of the breadth of who we work with, we have to be really agile with shifting what we do into different narratives.
Yeah.
It means different things for different people.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to get my head around that. But when I'm talking to funders or when I'm talking to different corporate partners or the network, they all get different things about what we do. So it's that relevant storytelling, and it goes back to what I said earlier about those pallets of razor blades. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
The last one is the power of partnerships. I remember that from old world. I remember, kickers, school shoes, and yet you didn't want to just be a school shoe brand, so we needed to think outside of school shoes. So we did a wonderful partnership, a collaboration with Palace. Way too cool for me. Yeah, way out of my depth. I left it to other people, but saw the power of it there. And actually, at In Kind Direct, the example I love is what we've done with Save the Children.
Right.
And we're looking to do more of that. We're actually talking to 2 charities at the minute about the winter campaign. How do we turn it from being our campaign into a partnership with a is it a homeless charity or a mental health charity for that time? What's relevant for that time of year? So I think those are the 3 areas when I think about the big bits that have impacted me and my thinking. I think it's somewhere in there.
Okay. God, that's fascinating. Look, Mark, that's been absolutely superb. Yeah. No. I mean, you're pulling the face, but no, it has, and also as well, because I think for many people on here in terms of In Kind Direct, maybe have not heard of them before. Sort of important, the very important role that sort of you're playing as well. So it's been absolutely fascinating, and it's been fantastic to have you on here.
Thank you. Well, listen, hopefully more people know about In Kind Direct. That is exactly, that's the mission. And I would say for anyone that's looking at the sector in terms of, what's there, what might it lead to, is there a role that I think, having made that move, it's been amazing the amount of transferable skills that have made it feel very familiar. And oh my goodness, there's some incredible people. Yeah. Oh, it's been a fantastic. It's flown 3.5 years. So thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed.
Not at all. It's a pleasure. Thanks very much, Mark. This is great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark, for talking with us today. I've really enjoyed hearing about how you successfully applied your brand building experience from clothing and footwear to the charity sector, and about the brilliant work that In Kind Direct is doing, working with the world's biggest brands to make sure that everyone has access to life's essentials. If there's anything you would like to ask us or hear more about, you can visit the JCDecaux Digital Changemakers Hub online. We hope you enjoyed listening. And wherever you get your podcasts, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share.